Hey everybody, I just wanted to come to you live and in person, driving down Interstate 35 in beautiful sunny San Antonio, Texas. I wanted to just let everybody know that there is a podcast that I have ready to release. It's pretty critical. It goes back from, and critical not in a personal way. Critical as in, here are my opinions about the city of Huber Heights government on certain issues going back just to the beginning of last year. It's been a while since I put out a podcast. So I went through, I pulled some clips from meetings, I attached those as my evidence to show you, here's my opinion and here's why I have this opinion. That may be a negative opinion on certain issues, like the social media policy, like how I feel that the new council that's been in office for about a year and 2 months, 19 days, how I feel that they are trying to move in a direction away from transparency. In a previous podcast, I mentioned that when Huber Heights, when the city government begins to move away from transparency, you, as a community, will lose. Transparency and keeping things in the open, keeping things in the light. I know some will argue that that's happening. Great. But when you keep things in the light, there are less things that could happen negatively to you, the taxpayer, the Joe citizen of the city. I will be back there in 3 months, give or take. Whether it be Huber Heights, I don't know. More on that. Will Truman's Town Hall, the podcast, continue? I don't know. Will I drop this 2-hour, beautiful, I think it's the best I've done, podcast? I don't know. Now, a little talk about the Facebook page, Brick City Town Hall. It was designed in 2015 to be a political, a government, a discussion, a page about all that. Okay? Discuss local government issues. It's not being used for that. Should we shut it down? That's a serious question. If you're on that Facebook group, say it. Shut it down. Because what I didn't want it to be is just the same old page that, I mean, there's 35, 33 Huber Heights Facebook pages out there. That's a question I pose to you. Should we shut it down? If not, we need to have more discussion about city government, good and bad. You know? Good and bad. And I appreciate those who post new business openings, beautiful pictures. I appreciate all that. All that is beautiful. And I love it. But more things are happening. Today is March 19th, 2019. You have a work session. Do you know what's on the agenda? It'd be nice for people to discuss things on the agenda. Did you know that tonight, according to the agenda, that they're going to be discussing giving council and the mayor a raise, brought to you by the mayor? That's what it says in the read-ahead and their source document. Did you know that most likely they're going to, again, talk about the social media policy or glaze over a little bit to let you know it's coming back. The last time they voted on it, it failed. The rules of council failed, and the social media policy was, in my opinion, the very reason it failed. And it also failed for another reason. There were 2 members of council who would vote yes, and it would pass, but they were absent. So look forward to that on your next city council meeting. We could almost guarantee that. Supplemental appropriations. I've always said this time and time again. Anytime you hear those two words, supplemental appropriations, pay attention. Okay? There's always going to be an explanation for why a supplemental appropriation is needed. There's always going to be, from the city, a positive explanation on why your money is being spent the way it's being spent. Is it possible that a new roof is being put on the court building in order to keep the court in the city of Heber Heights? Is that possible? Ask around. Because there are other cities who may have been trying to take the court building out of Heber Heights and put it in their city. Is there revenue generated from that court? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Are those things you knew? There's always things in this. Do you just not care anymore? Or do you care too much? Anyway, I wanted to do a little drive home podcast to let you know, hey, we're still here. Truman's Town Hall, still here. We're still paying attention. And I say we, I mean me. So anyway, I may put out that 2-hour-long podcast. I may not, because I'll tell you, here's what I've been battling. It's been done for a while. I may not, because I don't want to ruffle any more feathers than you have to. And right now it doesn't matter anymore. But I don't want to ruffle any feathers, because sometimes it's just not worth it. Sometimes it's easier to go throughout your day and not have to worry about that kind of stuff. Not have to worry about defending yourself, not have to worry about defending your position, not have to worry about answering questions and talking to people, and just, sometimes it's just easier to move forward. Because for whatever reason, some people get their feathers ruffled when you talk about policy. Ever since I've been doing these podcasts, I never went personal, because I don't believe in that. I could go personal right now and talk about certain things. I've been sarcastic, but it's always been on policy or legislation or the silly laws that I think are silly or the good laws that I think are good. So, I don't know. I don't know if Truman's Town Hall will continue. I just don't know. So, my hope is that more people get involved in city government. That's always been my hope. That's why I created the Brick City Town Hall page. That's why I created the Truman's Town Hall podcast. That's why when I was doing the Inspired and Admired podcast, it bled into the Truman's Town Hall. I was wanting to interview interesting people, but it's hard to do when you just moved to a state that you know basically no one. So it's kind of hard to find different folks. When I move back, I may add another show where I know a heck of a lot more people that I can talk to, and it would be better when they're right there in the room. So that's a plan down the road. But anyway, let me know. I put it out on blast on the Facebook page and the Brick City Town Hall. Didn't get a lot of reaction that people want to hear this new podcast. If you want to, I'll put it out there. But if not a lot of people want to hear it, then why ruffle the feathers? Why have the grief? I'll just truck on. I got a history podcast I'd love to do. I can just do that, and I'd be cool with that. Or when I get back home in a few months, hang out with my boys, and we'll just do a podcast about all kinds of stuff, which is the plan. I don't know. If you like this podcast, I need to know, and if I don't get a big response, then I know, and I move on, like we all do. Find what works. All right, that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm getting ready to get off my exit. I was going to stop by Panda Express and get some sweet fire chicken and some of the super greens instead of the rice. But I've decided I'm just going to go home. I'm going to make a salad. I'm going to prep up to go pick the kids up from school. And then have a good day. For those of you I haven't spoke to in a while, hope everybody is doing good. All y'all people, I hope you're doing good. Everyone, another thing I want to say. And I'm going to end it right here. And I'm going to try not to say too much because I don't want to go in a direction that I don't plan to go. Something I created, I don't know if it was before all the political stuff or after. No, it was after, because I was stuck. I ran for office, lost miserably, ran a terrible campaign. I could tell you the story if you want to hear it sometime over a cold beer. Anyway, so I was left, what could I do to help? And I decided to create Huber Heights Veterans Park Project. It ended up being the Huber Heights Veterans Project. And we had momentum. We had a lot of momentum. And things were looking up. When I moved to Texas, I transferred the control over. Things happened where I had to step back in. But it's hard to try to do a nonprofit for the city of Huber Heights and the veterans of the city of Huber Heights when you live in Texas. Make a long story short, the city has created a new board. And I won't go into all that. But the city has created a new board, and we need to there's no need to double the efforts of what we were doing, and there was a lot more people besides me that was involved in it. So, and they've all agreed that not to double the efforts